Hey everybody, soybean farmer here. This weed problem that I've been fighting here on this farm. Now last year the attempt to deal with them was a moldboard plow that I bought. I ended up, total expense on that thing was right at $800 and some serious hours of super frustration trying to get the old steel off of it and replace it with new steel. Plow bolts were rust welded to the nuts. The plow bolt would turn in the steel. Finally a viewer came along and told me to weld the bolts to the steel, since the steel was going to be scrap steel anyhow, and use an impact wrench. That sped things up. But anyhow, here's a little bit of footage about how that went. Pulling the plow was fun, a lot to learn. Big difference from pulling the disc. And then it turned out there was problems with this plow. Plow's got a mechanical mechanism on it called trip, and the reason they put it on there is if you hit big giant rock, some big heavy unmovable obstacle that's down in the earth with it, you don't want to break the thing, so you want the plow that's running along like this to trip out like that. Well, these trips, somebody had said something about be sure they work. Well, they work too good. You're going along and for no reason, I mean there's no obstacle there, the plow would just trip and come up out of the dirt, and you'd have a big mess and struggle with it a little bit to get it locked back in position and go a little while longer. So I still haven't, my time is so limited with the job that I work off the farm, and then the things that do come along and say, hey, you got to do this now. I just haven't been able to get back to that plow and figure out why these trips are releasing way too easy. So here's a little bit of footage out of the archives of me struggling to reset a trip so I can go on back to plowing and try to turn this dirt. Object of plowing last year was reaching down about that deep and literally rolling that dirt over. And the concept was that the weed seed was sitting close to the surface, and that by rolling the dirt that deep, I'd put all the weed seed down so deep that it wouldn't germinate. It didn't work. I had the best weed crop I think I've had in the 5 years I've been fighting weeds. This year things are going exceedingly well. So let's take a walk and go look at some stuff. Okay, I walked up here to the edge of the little 2-acre field in front of my house. Field was planted on May 24th and today is June 13th. So you can do the math and see the number of days that seed went in the ground and then getting us to where we're at. And what I want to show you, like I said, I'm right out here on the corner. This right here, that plant is called lamb's quarter, and that is called water hemp. That's the most aggravating weed I've ever had show up here. Now, if I set the camera down like that, put my hand in here, you can see about how tall this stuff is. It's right out here on the edge of the field. Now, let's take a walk. I'll try to hold the camera steady and I'll show you what I'm so excited about. This field was sprayed 2 days after being planted with Envive pre-emergent. The pre-emergent, what it does is suppress the ability of weed seed to come up through the barrier it puts down. So I'll go out here a little bit. I'm back on 14-inch rows. Makes it a lot easier to walk around in the field. But you can take a look at the ground down here and it's still clean. Now, it's not 100% perfect because there's a little bit of morning glory right there. But it's like that big. Last year at this time, the beans right now, well, to give you an idea, there's that's a good average right there. There's my hand sticking up there by the plant. And that's about where they were at last year with the same number of days. And this was a weed patch. It was already, the weeds had already come up and covered over it. I was in kind of a quandary of, but like right here, this is a good example. That's that stinking lamb's quarter. It's glyphosate tolerant. There's a bean. You can see the height of what's happening while I'm here. You can see how that's coming up out of the ground on that lateral. See, I'll just lay it down there. The disc hit it and knocked it under and didn't kill it, and it turned and came back up. It managed to punch through the barrier, but that's been an annoying weed, and it makes a lot of seed. There's a little bit more of it right here, and I am going on up here and see what this is for sure. It does look like water hemp. That is another lamb's quarter, and see how there's a bean plant and this lamb's quarter is all up in it. It'll steal every bit of the water, and that's another case where, see how it's like that and then goes like that. Disc didn't kill it. Disc pushed it under. The plant said, no, I'm going to live, and it turned and came back up. And then there's morning glory. There. I do know once you pull them, they're done. Another little bit, that's lamb's quarter right here. Same thing, you can tell by the way the roots turned. I mean, this spot right here was just blanket covered with morning glory, lamb's quarter, and water hemp. This is water hemp, and a prime example of why water hemp is something if you're trying to grow beans and you got this issue, you better get on it. Now, I'm going to set the camera down on the ground so you can see. There's a camera sitting on the ground, and you can see what the beans are here. Look at the size of that water hemp. That stuff would grow 5 and 6 inches in a 24-hour period. That one plant right there is just one by itself, but imagine 20 of them in a 10 square foot section getting up that tall. That plant sucks water out of the ground, and up that tall next to the beans at the heights they're at, it shade them right out. You kill the whole spot. Now, let's go over here. I'm up here. Let's see. Yep, look at it. See how it's coming up? Another prime case. The disc pushed it under. This thing said, oh no, it turned and it came back up through. But that should take care of that. We'll leave it right there. And there's another one over there. I mean, prime example. Set the camera down here on the ground, and you can see there's bean plant right there. Look at the size of that water hemp, how fast it grows, how much quicker it grows than the beans do. And this spot, like I was saying, it was wrapped up in it last year, and the beans were just really getting shaded out. That's why I spent so many hours up here in the evenings until dark trying to pull this stuff out by hand. But I'm here, I'm gonna pull this sucker. Let's see. Yep, watch that root come up as a runner. Same thing. Not as pronounced, but look how it ran that way and then turned up. And need to find a spot, yeah, that you can lay right there. And that's lamb's quarter. Same thing with that. But all in all, I am absolutely delighted with this pre-emergent and how well it has done. I see one more water hemp plant way up there on the hill. Let's see, we'll zoom to it and see if we can get it on the camera. Yeah, I think I got it there. Yeah, right about center of the screen. And you can see how much taller it is than the beans. They get up so quick like that. Now, what I've been told about Liberty Link